successful. It's been delayed a little bit too long, and while he's been attacking, I don't know if you guys noticed that, I should have mentioned this, Eric had been sending 1 or 2 raiders into his base just to do pillage damage. Really good move on Eric's part, by the way, and it's something you can do all along tier 1, tier 2 really, in a standard game, is while you're harassing or scouting with your Blade Master, send a raider or 2 with him. You can send them to the base to take out a Moonwell. They don't really creep very well, so while you're creeping up your Torn Chieftain, you don't really need the raiders. And because they don't have Ensnare, and they don't have slow, excuse me, and they won't have, for example, Cyclone for a while, then it's a really easy thing to do. It's a really easy thing for you as the Orc player to do, to harass with the raiders and not lose any. And the fact that they do pillage damage really helps you out, obviously. Because you can kill 1 or 2 wells or force the elf to port back to his base to save them earlier than they would want to. So anyways, as I was saying, definitely at some point you're going to see a tier 2 or tier 3 expansion involving fortified towers. And now, while he was harassing with a raider, or 2 raiders and the Shadow Hunter, his Blade Master was off expanding, got a clause +9, obviously a very good drop. And he's going to put an expansion, or at least going to put up the towers to protect the expansion. Because truthfully, once the towers go up, it's very hard for the elf to kill them, and really easy for you to keep that expansion alive for the rest of the game. So okay, towers are going up. What's Eric's game plan now? Like I said, he doesn't have a map pack. Again, it's kind of odd for me to watch strategies like this and replays like this when I know the Orc player isn't hacking. So because you're not hacking and you don't know what the elf's doing, you need that expansion to go up. You do the next logical thing, which is to attack or harass and force the elf player to stay on his side of the map while the towers go up. So Check, being Check and really intelligent, he knows the tower's going up because he scouts. Check doesn't hack either, but he has to choose right now. Like, can he get to those towers in time? Truthfully not, they're already going to be up. And even if he does get to them in time, the Blade Master is going to be delaying his expansion from going up, which he definitely doesn't want to have happen. So he's sending his heroes to the towers to see if he can cancel those. I guess he didn't realize when he thought that they were already pretty much up. So towers are up, and that level 2 Demon Hunter not able to do anything. He laments that fact and runs away. Too bad. He does have the orb, which makes going Verns for the rest of the game very difficult to do. I personally think Eric probably could have killed a hero here, possibly, or at least forced. Well, he could have forced him with Hex and Instinct and the fire from the Wyverns. Plus, I think he's got the Blade Master staff, which will cooldown up. But anyways, so just that one Blade Master is causing a lot of havoc for Check. He's already cancelled the Entanglement of Mine a few times. Now he starts attacking again. He probably would. He might get canceled this time. But Check doesn't want that to happen, so he sends his Demon Hunter into Mana Burn. Again, Check's having to struggle for his expansion. He can't really defend it because Ancient Protectors suck. And I think he should build, and he will eventually build 1 or 2, because they do help versus bats and versus Wyvern harassments. But they're terrible versus raiders, and then just in general as towers, they're not very good. So Check hasn't built too many towers too. That's something I want to point out. He's done this strategy: skip tier 1, skip the grunts. And he's only used 5 towers the whole game. Your average orc versus, human versus undead, or even human versus orc, or human versus elf game probably involves more than 5 towers. So you shouldn't feel too bad doing this strategy. I'm breaking it out every once and again. And one of the things that I love most about strategies like this is it really forces the elf player to adapt to what you're doing. I think too often elf players are they're so used to being able to go dots and then control everything in the game, from what the orc has to do, what units the orc has to go, what kind of timings the orc has to use. And so really a mediocre orc or elf player who's practiced dots enough can beat orc players that are better than him just because the orc player isn't as good at versing dots straight up. Whereas that same orc player, if he did this strategy against an elf player who would be inferior but might beat him with dots, would see that the elf player had no clue how to adapt. And even Check, as good as he is making some pretty significant mistakes versus this strategy. And again, I just want to stress that Check is definitely the better player, I believe. But Eric's outsmarting him, and that's going to get him the win. So again, looking at Eric's base, this is what I was talking about. He's banking at 50 food while he's researching liquid fire. The resources he's spending, the wood and the gold that he spends on getting his production buildings up, extra burrows up, and upgrades up. So he's got his spirit lodge going up. It won't be very long before he gets a Torn Totem. For some reason, he just went into upkeep. I don't really know why. One thing he should have done a while ago. I know I went upkeep. Sorry, I just hired some Goblin Sappers. Really good on his part. One thing he should have done a while ago, though, is got Goblin Shredder. Hey. So, anyways, you see, the other thing is if you can't harass the expansion, you always have the option of just taking it out. That's the great thing about having raiders, and that's the great thing about map with shops where you have Goblin Sappers. So you see, he starts attacking the expansion, raiders come in. The cool thing actually is that he doesn't have to port when he chooses to. So you'll see Check's town portal got cancelled because the expansion died before he could port. So he could have actually stayed here with his army and finished off the Ancient War and the two Ancient Protectors and the Wisps without losing a thing. But I guess he was too worried about losing his whole army. Which Check's army is ported. Sorry. Anyway, Sobi Mask on the Shadow Hunter, by the way, very useful. Although I guess the one is all 3 at this point, so it's really just for Check, obviously, in kind of dire straits, looking at his food. He's also banking. Dots very rarely go into upkeep. But he needs an expansion up and secured because he knows that Eric has an expansion up and secured. And looking at Eric again, once again banking 1,500 gold, 200 wood. He's researching Shaman depth training. Oddly enough, Check sent his Beastmaster. Oh, I guess it's cooldown. The Beastmaster's not going to do too much to stop the Blade Master from killing the expansion. So once again, he's delayed the expansion, but Check is trying to sneak one. Once again, notice he's trying to sneak an expansion at Eric's natural. I think that counts as Eric's natural anyway. Another tip I should give, and this applies to any point in time where you have an air army, and I didn't mention it, but Check used it earlier with a dot in dot form. You can put them over the tree line and have vision, much greater vision than you would have if they were not over the tree line, which is something when you're using bats, they do it a lot with Undead, for example. It's like having a 3-step because they can't see over the tree line with the ground armies, but because you're in the air above the tree line, you can see them. And again, you don't see most bat users do this because here you go. Check's got a hippogriff over the tree line at the red camp. He's not using it in his army because he knows there's not going to be any one-on-one fighting for a while. So it's really useful for him as a scout to tell if Eric ever wants to go to that red camp. Expansion there. There's definitely, if you were Eric, it's probably not supposed to be expanding. Anyways, Check carelessly losing his level 4 Beastmaster here. That's no good. This is the thing about, you do have to split up your army as the elf to defend this properly. But unfortunately for you, that can often mean getting caught against the Orc's full army. And you don't have your full army. So anyways, looking back at his base, he's going, all of a sudden he shot from 50 food to 63 food. He's building 2 Wyverns, a Torn Chieftain, and a Shaman. So he's going to have Bloodlusted Wyvern and Bloodlusted Shaman. Or Bloodlusted Torn, sorry. Which is a pretty difficult army to beat. Very difficult army to beat, I should say. Even if you cycle in all the Torn, you're still going to have a pretty hard time killing all the Burns with the Blade Master and back chewing up your army. So, pretty good army. Pretty hard to lose the dots. Not with the army at 50 food, but 60 food, 50 food dots. You're in pretty good shape. Check's hired a Keeper of the Growth, by the way. Interesting choice on his part. And it's 4 Entangle, and it's just the longer he can disable the blade, the better. and maybe even hope for a blade kill with Entangle, like Dust. The truth is, as a third hero in this late in the game, I think it's just free experience for the Orc. Because he's got to know that the Orc's cranked up quite a lot of gold.
Our gold mine has collapsed.
Anyways, Check's army, by contrast, 52 food. You never want to be 52 food. I don't know if I have to explain that, but that's just not useful. 52 food army is not at all better than a 50 food army, really. It's just like having 2 more peons, but your mining is significantly less gold. So, anyways, that's what Check ports with, and at this point, like I said, look how quickly that Reaper dies. It's just, I don't think he thought he was gonna see one tangle off.